Hi all. So last session we have seen the theory part of input and output statements. So now I am going to do a small program which introduces these input and output statements. So first of all, you have to know that for input and output statements, the keywords that you normally use is scanf and printf. So actually these keywords are already embedded inside a header file. So I told previously, like, header files are one which is included inside the library of the C language inside the header file. So if you want to use scanf or printf in your program, the first thing that you have to do is you have to include the header file for scanf and printf. For including that header file, we use the preprocessor directive #include. So the first thing that you should do in your program is you have to include the header file, that is #include stdio.h. And then we know that in the structure of the C program, the programming starting point would be the main function. So that is the main function, and it starts with the opening braces and ends at the closing braces. So whatever you are going to do with this program, you are going to write it inside this program. So first thing, here we are going to study about input and output statements. So first thing I will do is I'm going to print something on the screen, that is I'm going to use the output statement. So if you want to output anything onto the screen, the statement that we normally use is the printf statement. So I'll start with printf statement. So in the previous lecture I told, like, in the printf statement, if you write anything inside that double quote symbol, that will be printed in the screen. So I'm going to use the printf statement here, printf, and if I'm writing like hello world, that is, you have printf statement, the opening and closing bracket, and in the double quote symbol you are writing hello world. So if you write like this, and if you have to end the statement with semicolon. In C language, any statement that is written inside the function should be ended with a semicolon. So if I write like this, what you're doing is you're printing something on the screen. So I'm just running this program. Yeah, it started compiling. Still taking some time. Now you can see on the output screen, this is the output screen, and you can see hello world here. So that is what printf statement is used for. You are going to output something onto the screen. So if you want to output something onto the screen, you have to use the printf statement. So if I'm changing this hello world to some other words, like I'm writing my name here, and if you run it, it will be printing the same in the screen. You can see that Gobu Darshan. So that is what printf statements is. But in some cases, if you store some values onto some variables, you have to display that value on the screen. You have to print it in a different way. So if you are using a variable, the first step that you have to do is you have to declare that variable. So for declaration, we will use the data type that you're going to use. Think like I'm using a variable called a, and in that variable I'm going to store a value 5. So a equal to 5 means you are assigning a value 5 to the variable a. And then if I want to display this value 5 onto the screen, for displaying anything onto the screen, you have to use the printf statement. But I already told in the previous lecture, if you want to display a value inside a variable, you have to use the format specifier and then the variable name. So if the format specifier here would be %d, because a is a variable which is declared as integer. So you have to use the %d here. So we have to use the %d, and if I put a comma here, and then I'm going to display the value present inside a. So what happens here is this will display the value that you have in the variable a. So you can see that on the screen. You can see it is printing as 5 because 5 is the value that is stored in a, and you're displaying that value. And another important thing is, in printf statement, whatever you type inside that printf statement other than the format specifier, that will be displayed on the screen. So I'm printing as the value inside the variable A is. So what happens here is it will be printing the value inside the variable A is on the screen, and then it will be replacing this percentage D with the value that you have in A. So now you can see that on the screen the value inside the variable A is percentage D. So the percentage D, wherever you have that percentage D, that will be stored there. So that's all we have for the output statement printer.